That's a little in a former governor and we're winning by a lot. But they come down to North Carolina not thinking about North Carolina, and every single time they come back they say, Mr. Trump, that's where I want to spend the rest of my life. True story. 5 guys. It was the kind of moment political TV almost never delivers anymore. Not a debate, but the public collapse of a myth in front of everyone. For nearly a decade, Donald Trump had mocked Barack Obama's intelligence with a drumbeat of low IQ insults, birther innuendo, and demands for records, always implying the first black president didn't belong in the room. Trump, meanwhile, sold himself as a super genius, a man of the best words. Before we go further, tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now, the US, Canada, the UK, or somewhere else. I want to know who I'm speaking to today. The stage was the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, a televised forum on the future of American leadership. The hall was formal, the audience uneasy, the air thick with old grudges. Donald Trump is here tonight. Now I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. 20 minutes in, Trump went off script. He leaned toward the mic, face flushed with swagger, and cut off the moderator. "We talk about leadership," he bellowed, waving at Obama. "Leadership is brains. I have a very high IQ, everybody knows it. Great genes, but this guy, he hides his grades. Without a teleprompter, he can't even put 2 sentences together. The media created him, total lightweight." He sat back smirking, expecting anger, expecting Obama to flinch. Obama didn't. He uncrossed his legs, took a sip of water, and looked at Trump with a calm that felt like pity. "You talk a lot about teleprompters," Obama said, voice low and steady. "You talk a lot about reading. You claim you know more than generals, more than scientists, and certainly more than me." Then Obama reached into his jacket and pulled out a single folded sheet of paper. No transcript, no URSM, just 1 page. "I remember buying back. I remember the first time I went in the store right after Malia was born. I was like, what? That's how much diapers cost? I remember changing diapers. You think Donald Trump ever changed a diaper? I almost said that, but I decided I shouldn't say it. This," he said, "is the statement on national unity." The moderator asked us to prepare 3 short paragraphs, plain English. He slid the page across the table until it stopped in front of Trump's hands. Obama's tone stayed polite, but the challenge was sharp. "Since I'm so dependent on teleprompters," he continued, "and since you're the super geniuses with the best words, why don't you read the first paragraph for the American people right now, live?" The room went silent in a way that felt physical. Cameras tightened. The moderator froze. Trump stared at the paper like it might bite. He looked at the audience, then the lights, anywhere but the text. Finally, he picked it up, held it at arm's length, squinted, brought it closer, squinted again. 5 seconds passed. 10, then 20. The genius was stuck. "I don't need to read this," Trump stammered. The boom draining into a whine. "This is a setup. The lighting is terrible. Nasty lighting. And this font? Who chose this font? I have perfect vision, but it's unreadable. Why should I read your words? I have my own words." "It's not my words, Donald," Obama said, leaning forward, voice sharpening. "It's the preamble to the Constitution, slightly rephrased. The text you swore an oath to uphold. Read the first line." Trump's face reened, sweat beaded at his lip. He looked down again, searching for a path to bluff through. We the people," he began, sounding each word out. In order to form a more perfect, he stopped. His mouth hung open. The next phrase, simple to anyone who'd seen it in a classroom, might as well have been a cliff. A wave of shock moved through the hall. This wasn't comedy. It was the sight of a man who built his brand on intellect, suddenly unable to perform the most basic act he demanded from everyone else. "Read it out loud." Trump slammed the paper down. "This is boring," he shouted, jolting to his feet and knocking his chair back. "A nasty trick. I built skyscrapers. I don't do reading games from failed presidents." And then he did what he always does. When the truth pins him, he fled off the stage, past aides, away from the page. Obama watched him go without gloating. He picked up the sheet, put on his glasses, and faced the camera. "We the people," he read clearly. In order to form a more perfect union, he finished without effort. The sound of competence restoring oxygen to the room. For viewers at home, especially those who still believe leadership requires preparation, this was the verdict. Trump tried to bully a statesman and got cornered by